On the day of the pre-wedding photo shoot, my fiancé Kevin's adventure partner, Ashley, was forced into a blind date with the notoriously dark and dissolute Caleb from the Caleb family. Kevin abandoned me to get a marriage license with Ashley. The next second, Caleb appeared at the photo shoot, smiling as he looked at me. My fiancé, the one who was supposed to be mine, was snatched by your boyfriend. You'll have to compensate me. Looking at the face before me, 100 times handsomer than my ex-boyfriend's, I nodded as if compelled by some unseen force. I turned to the photographer opposite me and said, "Retake. That was just a rehearsal. This is the groom." Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Before the photographer could even fully process it, Caleb had already pulled me into 5 or 6 poses in a single second. I asked, puzzled, "Caleb, are you a professional?" Caleb laughed, like a cheerful golden retriever, wiggling a finger. I came prepared. The photographer snapped away, the shutter clicking rapidly. The photo shoot, which should have taken a full day, was finished by midday. I was home, removing my makeup, when I received a message from Caleb, "See you tomorrow. Fiancé." Below it was a location tag. Before I could check it, the doorbell rang. Opening the door, I saw Kevin's face, and scoffed, "Just got your marriage license and you're here? Are you bringing wedding favors or collecting your wedding gift?" Kevin's voice held a hint of apology. "Gracie, I had no choice. Ash longs for freedom, she can't be trapped in the Caleb family's cage." Seeing my silence, he sighed, "I have to consider her." I looked into Kevin's eyes and suddenly found it amusing. Did he consider me for even a second when he chose to leave today? I didn't want to say more and pushed him towards the door. "Happy marriage, and don't ever show your face again." Without another word, Kevin grabbed my hand. "Gracie, it's just that I couldn't make it to your pre-wedding photo shoot. Next time, pick a date, and I promise I'll be there." Before I could grasp what he meant, he continued, "I'll do the pre-wedding photo shoot with you first. Then in a few days, after the Caleb family stops pressuring for marriage, Ashley and I will get a divorce. Then I'll marry you. It's a win-win solution, so stop being stubborn." I finally couldn't hold back, raised my hand, and slapped him across the face. What he considered a win-win was, to me, just another humiliation. "What makes you think I'd ever take on a divorced man like you?" Kevin's face hardened a few shades. "Grace, Ashley and I have a marriage in name only. Ashley is my adventure partner, I only see her as a sister. I love outdoor adventures, and you don't. Only understands me, she's the one who climbed mountains with me. You failed in your duties as a girlfriend." I trembled with rage, turned my back, and clenched my fists. "Get out." Kevin persisted, unrelenting, "We've been together for 7 years. Who else would you marry besides me? I'm waiting for you to admit your mistake." The door slammed shut behind me with a deafening bang. The old injury in my knee began to throb, the pain spreading through my entire body. I slid down the wall, slowly sinking to the floor. It wasn't that I didn't like the outdoors, it was that I couldn't. That year, while mountain climbing, we encountered a landslide. To save Kevin, my knee was pinned under rocks for an entire day. When I woke up, he cried and said, "I'll love you for the rest of my life." But for a man, a lifetime is too short. The moment he abandoned me, he should have died. I picked up my cell phone and deleted Kevin's contact information. Only then did I see the location message Caleb had sent me earlier. It was, strikingly, the courthouse. I hadn't expected Caleb to act so quickly. After getting the marriage license, he immediately took me to see wedding venues. "Since I've decided it's you, I naturally want to put your mind at ease." I froze for a moment. Kevin and I had dated for 7 years, and every time I brought up marriage, he would hesitate. I was disappointed time and again, sentenced to an indefinite wait, always on Kevin's terms. I didn't want to wait anymore. Seeing me stunned, Caleb continued, "Oh, and there's a surprise waiting for you back home." When I opened the door at my apartment, Kevin and Ashley were there too. For a moment, I regretted forgetting to remove Kevin's smart lock access. "Gracie, I knew you'd agree to my win-win plan. You secretly picked a wedding dress because you wanted to surprise me, didn't you?" Following gaze, I then noticed an exquisitely beautiful wedding dress in the center of the room. So this was the surprise Caleb had mentioned. I hadn't even had time to wonder how he knew my size. Ashley had been staring at the wedding dress intently ever since she arrived, her eyes filled with greed. The next second, her eyes welled up, and she bit her lip. "Gracie, please, can you lend Kev to me for a few days first? Don't be in such a hurry." With that, tears streamed down her face, and she cried profusely. "Sister, I came today to explain everything clearly to you. Kev and I really just have a simple Marriage license relationship. She deliberately emphasized the words. Kevin frowned, pulled Ashley closer, and softly comforted her. Then, with a look that seemed to see right through me, he said, Grace, you're so manipulative. Don't deliberately provoke Ash. I already told you I'd marry you. Are you picking out a wedding dress so hastily to pressure me into marriage? Sister, you have to believe Kev. He truly cares for you deeply. Oh, by the way, Kev, didn't you buy something to apologize to Gracie? Ashley subtly shifted, and a flash of blue caught my eye on her bag. My heart instantly turned cold. That lucky charm was something I had given to Kevin. Once, when he was sick and unconscious, I performed a pious pilgrimage, prostrating at every step up Serenity, simply because it was said to be very effective for praying for safety there. But now, it was on Ashley's bag. Ashley noticed my gaze and feigned thoughtfulness as she explained, I saw this in Kev's clutter pile at home. I liked it, so Kev gave it to me. A sarcastic smile played on my lips. You certainly have a knack for picking up trash. Kevin seemed to recall something, awkwardly cleared his throat, and handed me a small box. For you. A pair of jade earrings. I scoffed. 7 years, and he still couldn't remember I didn't have pierced ears. Just then, Ashley casually pulled back her sleeve, revealing a flash of green on her wrist. It instantly clicked. Turns out, those earrings were just an extra, a freebie. I'd marry a lunatic before I'd marry you. Get out. Furious, Kevin smashed the earrings to pieces. Ashley quickly grabbed his arm. Gracie, I was afraid you wouldn't like Kev's gift, so I prepared one too. With that, she picked up a box from the sofa. This is the fertility charm Kev and I made together yesterday. I hope you and Kev have children soon. I was utterly speechless. The more I thought about it, the more disgusted I felt, as if I'd swallowed 100 flies. I slapped her hand away. Go to hell. The next second, the porcelain doll crashed to the floor, and Ashley dramatically fell backward. Hiss, she winced. Ashley, still crying profusely, clutched her calf and struggled to get up. It's okay, as long as Gracie can vent her anger and forgive Kev, you can do anything to me. She furrowed her brow, her eyes conflicted. Forget it, Kev, let's go get a divorce now. Even if that lunatic from the Caleb family tortures me to death, it's just my fate. It was the first time I'd seen Kevin lose control like this. He roared at me, just because you can't climb mountains, do you want Ash to be a shut-in cripple like you too? He hugged Ashley and walked toward the door, his voice filled with disappointment. Grace, why can't you be more magnanimous? 3 Perhaps it was because I couldn't stomach this half-cooked meal. It might fill me up, but it would choke me. Perhaps Truly hadn't committed any outright transgressions, but his lack of boundaries was his fatal flaw. On my mother's Memorial Day, I went to Willow Estate. My mother was buried here. This estate was private property belonging to my mother and her best friend. After my mother passed away, half of the Willow Estate became mine. I stayed for half a day, and as dusk settled, I prepared to head down the mountain. I vaguely spotted a few familiar figures. They were Kevin's friends. Kev is so good to Ash. I hope I can find a man as wealthy and devoted as him someday. Even after all this, Kev still tells us he just sees Ashley as a sister, and says he'll get a divorce. Who believes that? My hand, holding a teacup, paused. It was always like this. Everyone could see Kevin's special treatment of Ashley, only he refused to admit it. Every year on my mother's Memorial Day, I'd beg Kevin to come with me to Willow Estate to pay respects. He only came once. It's just a rundown tea estate, the adventure difficulty is too low. So he and Ashley went to caves, to the polar regions, to the wilderness. I thought he had forgotten this place entirely, but it turned out he just didn't want to remember it in front of me. I finally got through to security and discovered they had climbed up from a small path behind the mountain. Get them out immediately. The very next second after I hung up the phone, Kevin stood at the mountaintop, shouting, Ash, you deserve all the best things in the world. A red spark flashed in his hand, bang. A huge firework exploded in the sky. My heart leaped into my throat. Everyone was gazing at the night sky, but only I noticed sparks on the tea plants near my mother's tombstone. I grabbed a bucket of water and rushed over, extinguishing the spark. Ashley, illuminated by the firelight, saw me clearly, her expression contemptuous. Gracie, here to freeload off the fireworks? My shoulders tensed, I couldn't hold back any longer. I marched straight up to Kevin and slapped him. Ashley jumped in surprise, steadying Kevin. Are you okay? Gracie, you're not tracking and monitoring us, are you? Kevin finally looked up at me. Grace, I said I'd marry you, and I will. Why do you have to push me so hard? The way you're following me and spying on me now, how is it any different from that lunatic from the Caleb family? No difference, indeed. Both are lies spread by you. I sneered. Kevin truly was brain dead. Seeing the staff behind me acting so submissive to my orders, Kevin suddenly seemed to remember something, a flicker of awkwardness crossing his face. Even if you're the owner of the tea estate, don't you only own half? We're on the other half of the land, you can't tell us what to do. I was so angry I actually laughed. Ashley supported Kevin, then turned to me, crying, Gracie, you saw Kev buying me bridal jewelry, that's why you're following us, isn't it? If you want it, I'll give it back to you right now. With that, she pretended to take off her bracelet and necklace. Kev just sees me as a sister. This isn't a bridal gift, it's a trousseau. He's my family. I said nothing, just quietly looked at the watch on my wrist. Grace, Ash just made a wish, she wants a wedding. Didn't you pick out a wedding dress? She likes it a lot. You can alter it to her size. I'll spend a week with Ash, consider it a honeymoon. This week, you plan the wedding. If is satisfied, I'll marry you. The next second, a police siren wailed in the distance. Congratulations to the two of you on your police station themed honeymoon. I shook my cell phone. Arson means a long stay in prison. Ashley was still struggling. You only own half, you have no right to deal with us. The next moment, Caleb's assistant walked up to me and handed me a document. Grace, the other half of the Willow estate is yours as well. A wedding gift from the young master. A week after Kevin and his group were taken to the police station, Caleb and I held our wedding. I stood in my wedding dress behind the banquet hall doors, waiting for the music to begin and the doors to open. Suddenly, someone grabbed my hand. Kevin looked around. Not bad. I frowned. As soon as the wedding is over, I'll divorce Ash and get a marriage license with you. The next second, he saw the bouquet in my hand, and his eyes narrowed. Grace, I thought you had changed for the better, but I never expected you to be so appalling. Ash is allergic to lilies, you deliberately want to make her look bad. And why are you dressed like this? Ash is behind you, quickly help her put on her wedding dress. Ash has a foot injury, so be gentle and don't hurt her. Looking at his disheveled clothes, I figured he'd just been released from the police station. Oh, by the way, where's my suit? The next moment, the music began, and the grand doors swung open. Guests filled the hall, and across the carpet, Caleb stood tall and imposing. Upon seeing the person beside me, he gave a strained smile and spoke. Kevin? Are you here to be a groomsman? Or just to give a wedding gift? There's a seat at the back. Make yourself at home. Upon seeing Caleb, a flicker of confusion crossed Kevin's face. What are you doing here? Caleb gave a wicked smile. Isn't it obvious? I'm getting married. With that, he strode towards me. A voice from behind us asked, Kev, didn't Gracie prepare a wedding dress for me? No sooner had she spoken than Ashley saw Caleb approaching and hid behind Kevin, clutching his coattails. Kevin understood everything then. Grace, you're retaliating. You're threatening me. You knew perfectly well that today was Ash and my wedding, and you brought this jinx here just to humiliate Ash. Caleb finally reached my side and took my hand. I calmly said, let me reintroduce myself. I wiggled our tightly clasped hands, our wedding bands gleaming brightly. Caleb, my husband. Kevin froze in place. His gaze fell upon the wedding standee behind us, complete with our names. He crossed his arms and sneered, keep acting, the props are quite complete. After seeing the big screen, his face grew increasingly dark. Caleb's and my wedding photos and behind-the-scenes video were playing on a loop. A hint of panic crept into Kevin's voice. Impossible. Weren't you always waiting for me to marry you? My steps faltered. So he had always known, he just hadn't been willing to do it. He suddenly remembered something, pointing at Caleb, his eyes bloodshot. Gracie, this lunatic forced you, didn't he? You won't have a good outcome if you marry him. Caleb's expression was unreadable. I gave his hand a reassuring pat. I stepped in front of Kevin, and his eyes lit up. I smiled faintly and said, word by word, a bitter fruit, yes, but it is my fruit. And I'll swallow it willingly. Kevin finally understood my resolve, his face turning ashen. Caleb led me, step by step, towards the center of the stage. The next second, a figure darted out from behind, and my hand was gripped tightly. Caleb, I'll never give Gracie to you. Ashley quietly sobbed from the side. Kev, I'm so scared. Let's go home. Kevin, as if possessed, repeated, yes, Gracie, I'm taking you home now. I calmly replied, his side, that's where my home is. Kevin's eyes were bloodshot. He swung his fist and charged towards my side. Caleb scoffed lightly and slightly turned his body. But after seeing me, He paused abruptly, for some reason, and deliberately took the punch. I immediately kicked Kevin. Get lost. Caleb clutched the wound on his face. Gracie, I'm in pain. Kevin froze for a second, then blurted out, you fake. I sighed. So what? That's exactly what I like. Caleb seemed quite pleased, happily telling security to toss out the irrelevant people. Kevin's mouth was covered, and he kept making muffled whimpering sounds. I just felt a headache coming on. What's that dog yapping about? Caleb knelt down on one knee, carefully smoothing out my skirt. When he looked up, his eyes were full of stars. He says, he wishes us a happy marriage. 5 that night, Caleb and I returned to the bridal. Our hands hadn't separated once since the wedding began. I sighed, gently pulling his hand away. I'll go get some medicine for your wound. Caleb was surprisingly obedient and nodded. I came back with the medicine, noticing his gaze fixed on me. What are you looking at? You're beautiful. Blushing, I turned my head away. You little rascal, did you think I didn't notice you got hurt on purpose? Caleb's eyes cleared a little, and he wrapped his arms around my waist. So if I really am a lunatic, would you still want me? I didn't answer, just kept applying the medicine. Does it hurt? A flicker of disappointment crossed his eyes, then he returned to his usual playful expression, pulling my hand to his abs. Then, big sister, show me some affection. Seeing the faint outlines beneath his shirt, I cursed under my breath, devil. The next morning, my entire body felt like it was falling apart. I sighed, he truly was a male charmer who could drain the life out of me. Opening my eyes felt incredibly difficult. The next second, I heard his assistant's voice. I heard that last night, Kevin was already clamoring to divorce Ashley. Ashley refused adamantly, even threatening to die. I really don't get it, he picked her himself, and now he doesn't want her anymore. Caleb didn't seem to be listening attentively at all, simply giving a lazy grunt. Look at you, all smitten now that you have a wife. After finally getting what you wanted, just wait, you'll be completely under her thumb. Caleb's lazy voice drifted over. I couldn't ask for anything more. The assistant joked, your long-lost love, your white monly. GHT, finally. 6 I coughed. Caleb noticed I was awake and shot a glance at his assistant. The assistant, taking the hint, closed his mouth and left. We'll be there soon. Caleb smiled and handed me a glass of water. It's the island you always wanted to visit. I was stunned and said softly, how did you know? Caleb smiled like a cunning fox. A secret. Actually, I had mentioned wanting to go to an island with Kevin several times, but he always forgot. After we landed, Caleb went off to attend to other matters. The seaside sunshine dispelled all the gloom in my heart. A phone call interrupted this tranquility. A familiar voice came from an unknown number. Gracie, didn't you always want to go to an island? I bought tickets, I'm coming to pick you up. We'll go to the island right away, I'll definitely help you escape from Caleb. Seeing that I didn't reply, his voice held a hint of pleading. Gracie, please, come with me to see the island. It must be beautiful. I slightly raised my sunglasses and calmly said, it is beautiful. I've already seen it. Kevin seemed to grasp onto something. Gracie, you really do still have me in your heart. You remember our promise. Where are you? I'll come find you. For adults, unfulfilled promises are automatically deemed as bubbles, vanishing without a trace. I scoffed and casually replied, on the biggest rock. Then I hung up. Sick. I promptly blocked the number as well. That evening, I lay in Caleb's arms, about to ask him what he had been busy with all day. Caleb was just about to speak. The next second, I received a call from the police station. 7 We arrived at the beach, a cordoned-off area. A person sat on a rock in the sea, hugging their knees. The surrounding seawater was almost up to their knees. Although it was just a back view, I knew it too well. It was Kevin. The police explained to me, the tide is rising. He's been sitting there since the afternoon, refusing to come down. It's cold at night, and he's almost hypothermic. I sighed. What a hassle. I took the flashlight from the police officer and shone it towards him. Kevin raised his hand, and upon seeing it was me, his eyes suddenly brightened with life. He had a hint of grievance in his voice. Gracie, I couldn't reach you, so I've been waiting for you here. It was so long. He choked out bitterly, but I made you wait so many times. Every time we had a date, he would always cancel due to some last-minute situation involving Ashley. I had long grown accustomed to it. Then he looked up and smiled. But, thankfully, I finally waited for you. Gracie, from now on, I'll be the one waiting for you. With that, he handed me the item in his hand. As if afraid his fingertips would chill me, he carefully placed it in my palm and quickly withdrew his hand. I opened my hand, and there, strikingly, lay the lucky charm he had once given to Ashley. My heart stirred, filled with a sense that things were no longer the same. The next second, a figure darted out from the curious crowd. "Gracie, can't you just let us go? Please." It was Ashley. She dropped to her knees in front of me, drawing everyone's attention. I subtly turned, avoiding her. I offered a half-hearted greeting. What a coincidence. "Are you two on your honeymoon too?" Kevin's face turned cold. "Too? Caleb is here too?" I tightened the shawl around me. "It's none of your business." Ashley noticed Kevin's concern for me, and her eyes darkened menacingly. "Gracie, the lucky charm has already been returned to you. Can you please stop pressuring Kev to divorce me?" People behind us began to murmur. Kevin frowned, completely ignoring Ashley on the ground, and eagerly explained to me, "Gracie, I've already had her sign the divorce agreement." The more he spoke, the more agitated he became. "As soon as the cooling off period is over, I can marry you." I didn't answer anything, just smiled and said to the police officer beside me, "I'm calling the police. There's so Meon here harassing a married woman." Everyone suddenly understood and began to point and whisper about Ashley and Kevin. Clutching the lucky charm, I threw it into the sea with all my strength. Times change, and we drift with the current. Just like us, we can never go back. Kevin stared intently at the lucky charm being carried into the deep sea, then tried to rush in as if insane. But he was stopped by the police. On the other side of the crowd, a tall, slender figure had been watching everything unfold. A red ember glowed briefly at his fingertips from his cigarette. Then he vanished into the night. From behind me came Kevin's enraged roar, "Grace! You always say I don't understand you." He gave a sinister smile. "Then what do you really know about that lunatic, Caleb?" 8 As soon as I lay down in bed back at the hotel, the person sleeping behind me climbed closer, circling me in his arms. I pretended not to smell the tobacco behind me and fell into a deep sleep. I thought life would continue this calm way until the honeymoon ended, and we returned to Emerald City. As soon as we landed, my best friend called me, "Gracie, how is that damn Kevin still sticking around like a persistent rash?" She then forwarded me a live stream link. I glanced at the screen. The background was familiar, Serenity. A crowd of people surrounded it, inside and out, murmuring, "I heard this young man is trying to reconcile. If he's sincere, it will work. The girl will surely be touched." Only then did I see clearly that Kevin was performing a pious pilgrimage, prostrating at every step. Behind him were the 1,000-stone steps of Serenity. He couldn't be thinking of. Under the gaze of the camera, he happened to reach the mountaintop and pulled out a photograph from his pocket. It was actually our wedding photos. Caleb's face beside me was so dark it could drip ink. Kevin, facing the camera, carefully caressed the photo. "Gracie, that day, we only managed to get one good wedding photo. I begged the bridal shop for a long time to get it. I know I was wrong. As long as you agree to a divorce, I'll do anything." He confessed emotionally to the camera, "Gracie, if you want to, we can start over." Behind him, red ribbons fluttered on the wishing tree. The lifelong wish I had made under that tree years ago now seemed like empty talk. Beside me, Caleb feigned nonchalance, but the hand he used to text his assistant was moving so fast it seemed to block all live streams featuring Kevin showing off in public. "It's disgusting." I was about to close the video when, the next second, a familiar figure flashed across the screen. Ashley snatched the photo from Kevin's hand and promptly threw it down the cliff. "Kev, snap out of it. Grace is already married." Kevin watched the photo disappear and tried to jump after it, but he was held back by the crowd. Kevin's eyes were bloodshot, glaring at Ashley. "That was the last memory of Gracie and me. How dare you?" Ashley also got angry. "Kevin, what you're doing, where does that leave my reputation?" Kevin kicked Ashley in the chest. "Reputation? When I abandoned Gracie to help you out of that situation, where was her reputation?" After exiting the live stream, Caleb was nowhere to be seen beside me. A clanging sound filled the air. Caleb was hanging wedding photos all over the house. A wave of jealousy filled the air, and I sighed. I opened my hand, and a red sachet hung from my fingertips. I dangled it in front of Caleb's eyes. Caleb finally reacted. "Mine? It's for the little rascal." Caleb smiled as he took it, taking a gentle sniff. "Tea scent. Gracie, you made it yourself." I nodded. Before I could speak, a knock sounded at the door. The assistant exchanged a few words with Caleb, whose eyes flickered. "Gracie, I need to go handle something." I nodded, feigning casualness as I added, "Just married, and you're certainly busy." Caleb averted his gaze and hurried away. Looking at the ET forgotten on the sofa, a strange sense of irritation welled up within me. The next second, I received a message from Kevin. Gracie, let's meet. There are some things you should know. I was about to hang up, already feeling an inexplicable irritation. He gave a bitter laugh and whispered, it's about Caleb. 9 at the coffee shop. Kevin, sitting opposite me, had visibly lost a lot of weight, despite it not having been that long. Noticing my gaze, he gave a self-deprecating smile. Gracie, this is my retribution. I accept it. All my past actions, I'm truly sorry to you. But even if you're not with me, you need to stay away from Caleb. My finger, tapping lightly on the cup, paused. Slandering my husband in front of me? That's really low. Kevin ignored my sarcasm and continued, Caleb isn't as good as you think. He hasn't been around you much lately, has he? When he loudly declared he was going to marry Ashley, I went to talk to him, and do you know what he said? A hint of unease flickered in my heart. He said, unless Ashley got a marriage license with someone else that very day, she'd be carried into the Caleb family even if she were dead. If it weren't for his hint, I wouldn't have thought of such an absurd plan. He was just reeling you in. Fragments of questions in my mind slowly began to piece themselves together. That day of the pre-wedding photo shoot, he appeared at the scene at just the right moment. Kevin interrupted my thoughts, observing my expression. Even the other half of the tea estate your mother left you was already in his hands. Kevin placed a stack of documents on the table and pushed them towards me. Caleb has a white moonlight that he's loved but could never have. And, you're just a stand-in he found. I recalled the white moonlight his assistant had mentioned, and my heart tightened. With trembling hands, I flipped to the map of the Caleb family's residence in the documents. It had one more floor than I remembered. Tenra 2. Running to Caleb's residence, following the map, I finally found the mysteriously added floor. Standing to one side of the corridor, my nails dug into my palms. I didn't know what Caleb had been hiding from me. Holding my breath, I walked forward and froze in place. The corridor was filled with oil paintings, each one covered with a red cloth. With trembling hands, I closed my eyes and unveiled one. For a moment, I was stunned. The girl in the painting, around 15 or 16, smiled sweetly. And opposite the painting, I leaned against the wall, looking at my reflection in the mirror, my smile stiff. It was truly similar. 11 suppressing the heartache, I revealed them one by one with a bitter smile, slowly realizing something was off. They were too much like me. Further on were several mannequins, identical to my figure. Composing myself, I then noticed various wedding dress designs scattered around. The one in the very center was the design for the wedding dress Caleb had given me. I leaned in closer. The design paper was already yellowing, its edges curling up. I wondered how many times its owner had looked through it. The whiteboard was covered in dense notes, wedding itineraries, wedding dress designs. Finally, I reached the center of this floor, standing before a statue. It was me, wearing that very wedding dress. Lifelike. Next, I pulled open a drawer. Inside were flight tickets for trips between Emerald City and Maplewood. And a thick stack of photos. Screenshots of every one of my social media posts. I also found a photo from my college graduation ceremony. The part beside me had been torn off, but I still remembered it was a photo of Kevin and me from that graduation year. However, the right half had been torn away. The right side had the same background, but the person in it was Caleb. So, all those years ago, in a corner I didn't know about, Caleb was there too. But I had no memory of Caleb whatsoever. Until one photo slid out. A photo of his mother and my mother. Only then did I realize that his mother was actually my mother's best friend. I did indeed have a faint memory of a chubby little boy who always played with me when we were children. Whenever he was bullied for being fat, I would defend him. But later, I heard he had a heart condition, and his entire family moved abroad for treatment. As I looked at each photo, my heart tightened more and more. The next second, hurried footsteps sounded from behind me. The door was suddenly pushed open, and Caleb and I locked eyes. 12 He was holding a document, and the moment he saw me, it dropped to the floor. His face showed a rare panic. He said nothing, as if waiting for my judgment. With a tired smile on his face, Caleb crouched down and slowly picked up the document from the floor. Then he simply scratched his head, resigned, and gave a self-deprecating laugh. I'm sorry. I'm guilty. They were right, I'm a lunatic, a pervert, constantly fixated on you. It seems Kevin told you everything. Yes, I was the one who planned every step from the very beginning. Caleb's head lowered further. Then he spotted the suitcase beside me. His face instantly turned pale, and he sank exhausted onto the sofa. Gracie, are you leaving? He wanted to stop me but didn't dare, finally carefully handing me the document in his hand. On the Willow estate your mother left you, I built a manor. You are the owner. If you're really angry, you can go there first. I avoided taking it and finally spoke, so this is what you've been busy with lately? Caleb nodded, his voice growing softer and softer. I was originally planning to keep it a secret to surprise you. I nodded and thanked him softly. I opened the navigation app on my cell phone to the manor's location. As I walked past him, carrying my suitcase, his hand lifted then fell. The next second, my cell phone rang. The aggrieved look on Caleb's face instantly vanished, replaced by an ambiguous, unreadable expression. Only hi. A slightly trembling hand betrayed his true emotions. I put it on speakerphone. It was Kevin's voice. Gracie, wasn't I right? Caleb is a lunatic. I'll wait for you to come out. I calmly replied, he certainly is a lunatic. Caleb's head dropped even lower, then I continued, but I like him. And, sorry not sorry, the white moonlight turns out to be me all along. Before he could react, I hung up the phone. Meetings gaze, I said softly, aren't you going to help me carry this? I can't carry it all, after all, it's luggage for two. Caleb realized what I meant, strode towards me, and pulled me into a tight embrace. I inhaled his familiar scent, feeling the warmth of our bodies pressed together. I asked softly, is your heart cured? Caleb's eyes brightened. You remember everything? I lifted my hand, my fingertip lightly tapping his chest. With a teasing grin, I added, cured, huh? Then why are you still so quick? Caleb rarely blushed, but he did then. As he leaned in for a kiss, I distinctly heard his whisper, where my heart belongs. 13 months later, the Tea Mountain Estate opened its doors to the public for the first time. On the day of the tea tasting event, many people attended. My mother would have been so happy to see so many people sharing her love for the art of tea. I hadn't expected Caleb to go to such lengths to invite many industry leaders. Knowing I wasn't good at socializing, he resigned himself to working for me, becoming my assistant. After finally greeting yet another potential partner, he grumbled indignantly, heartless boss, I need a raise. I smiled as I saw him off, then went to the back mountain to pay respects. Upon returning, I was about to take a sip of tea when, the next second, a figure darted out. Ashley shrieked, Grace, you stole all my happiness. I looked at Ashley's attire, she was dressed like a tea farmer. I couldn't believe she'd thought of such a disguise to evade identity checks. A hint of man's S in her eyes, she snarled, ever since you got married, Kev has never gone adventuring with me again. If I can't be happy, then neither can you. A glint of silver flashed. The nearby security guards didn't even have time to react. I had no choice but to raise my arm to block. The sharp, piercing sound of a blade entering flesh filled the air, but not the pain I had expected. I opened my eyes. Ashley had been pushed aside, and the security detail quickly subdued her. Kevin was shielding me completely. He clutched his lower leg, his face contorted in pain. I quickly helped him up. A drop of blood stained the ground. It pained me to see. Why would you do that? A look of relief, however, crossed Kevin's face. Gracie, don't be scared. It doesn't hurt. Didn't you save me back then? It left you with a permanent injury in your knee. I felt I owed you, and this was my way of repaying that debt. He gasped in pain. I just came to see you. We were together for so long, and I knew you loved tea, but I never brewed a cup for you. It seems I won't get the chance now. That night on the tea mountain, you said you didn't like fireworks because nothing lasts forever. With trembling hands, he rolled up his pant leg. Only then did I see my name tattooed on his knee. You said nothing lasts forever, but this is forever. I'll fight with everything I have to keep it. As soon as he finished speaking, he passed out from the pain. I sighed. There was no saving it. Based on my experience with leg injuries, I estimated he'd likely need an amputation below the thigh. 14 weeks later, Caleb and I went to the hospital to see Kevin. My gaze skimmed over his stump, and I said quietly, Ashley intentionally harmed you, she'll spend the rest of her life in jail. You rest and recover well. It was truly ironic. Kevin had been with her to give her freedom, yet now she'd never be free again. Kevin glanced at Caleb's and my intertwined hands and gave a bitter smile. Gracie, I wish you both 100 years of happiness. I nodded. Caleb pulled me forward, without looking back. Ever since that day, Caleb refused to leave my side for a moment. It's all my fault for not protecting you better. I was getting quite annoyed. Alright, then you'd better make a proper apology. If your apology isn't sincere, you're not allowed to touch me for a week. Unexpectedly, Caleb actually agreed. The next day, when Caleb knelt before me in a shirt and dress pants, his hands behind his back, I realized once again how good I had it. I couldn't help but tell myself, "You silly girl, you've got it good." When I leaned in, Caleb grinned mischievously, "Gracie, this time, I'm being coerced." I chuckled, kissing his collarbone. "You little rascal, always scheming. Your punishment is a full day and night." Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section, and we welcome your feedback. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. See you next time.